packaging. So basically, yes, the whole supply chain falls apart.
Dude, what's happening there, man?
Should we go live? Guys, it's 12:05 already.
Let's rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll. Okay, let's get this going.
We just need some lights, dude. A little bit dark. On the darker side. Leicester is surrounded with glowing lights. In the midst of all this financial
It's all my
turmoil.
ideas. They're just up there.
In the
Look,
midst of all this financial turmoil.
There's another idea. There's another one.
I think you need to hold it.
Bankers
It's
keep
not
messing up
working.
my pension.
It's not working.
Oh.
Oh, well, there we go. We're live. We're doing all the things incorrectly today, but
Well, on the
can I
technical side, everything is working except for the lights.
yeah. You guys catch up. I'm just going to let my domestic out quickly, okay?
Okay.
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah.
Okay. Just let him go. Let him do
I'm not
what
sure
he
if
needs
it's
to
number
do.
one. I'm not sure if it's number one or number two.
Oh, number 3, whatever that is. Oh, yeah. That's like dropping your kids off at the pool. I mean, it's right up there.
Yeah. Oh, like drop some big ones.
Anyway, what's going on there?
We quiet. We preparing for some protest action that's going to be happening around next week. Yeah,
That's
but
like what was it? Monday, Tuesday, somewhere around there.
Monday, Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, because we've had to change a lot of our flights. People flying to Joburg.
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure if it's connected, but that kind of kicked Eskom into action, and then they reduced the load shedding to like stage 1 or stage 2. I don't even know.
Okay.
At least for the time being, it's good. It's good. But yeah, what's happening in Europe? There's like news all around. The whole banking thing seems to be
It's only one
rattling.
bank. It's only Credit Suisse, right?
No, but across the road from Credit Suisse and Atlantic, there's also like not a lot of happiness happening in Silicon Valley Bank and.
But I haven't really read into this much. But wasn't Silicon Valley Bank part of Credit Suisse?
No, I don't think they're connected. Silicon Valley Bank is just Silicon
I thought
Valley
they
Bank.
were connected somehow. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Well, this smells like 2008 all over again.
But do you think it's going to be bigger than 2008? I mean, it's like, Credit Suisse is it's not a small fry it's not a small fish in the sea.
It's not small.
It's
no.
$1 trillion bank.
But there were some big banks in 2008 as well.
Yeah. You know what's
But
scary?
it's about-
You know the chairman of Credit Suisse? You know what's his surname?
No.
Rovko.
No. It's something more ominous than
What's
that.
What
His
is
surname
that?
is Lehman.
Lehman.
No,
Like part of
come
Lehman Brothers.
on.
I promise you Google
He's not
this.
one of the Lehmans.
I promise you Google
It was
this.
just coincidence.
This is
The chairman of Credit Suisse is something Lehman.
You couldn't write this.
You couldn't. You couldn't.
yeah. You couldn't. It sounds like a movie. Yeah?
And what's happening in France? I mean, there's also protests in France with the pension thing.
There's always protests in France, though.
That's true. That's true.
Is,
But this seems bigger than usual for some reason.
no, it's not really featuring on our radar. I must say, talking about protests, it was International Women's Day last week, and I was in Madrid for the day, for the week, while I was on, and I didn't realize how big, and I'll call it an event, that International Women's Day is. All the women come out and demonstrate, which is fine, absolutely. But what I didn't realize, because I needed to get a taxi from my hotel in the middle of Madrid, that something must have happened in the past years, but they locked down the city. They locked down the center of the city. There's no traffic. Police cordons everywhere.
Yeah.
Riot gear everywhere. police out in there, hundreds of. I popped into Starbucks to try and figure out what my plan of action is because there was no traffic, no taxis, and standing in this group surrounded by women, all with war paint on. Like, we're just going to get a quick Starbucks before we go and kick the crap out of police. I had no idea.
That's
they
so
went this
cool.
far.
Did you do a selfie or something? You're like,
I was like, I'm the bearded lady here. I don't want to stick out.
But did you do at least a selfie? Come on, dude. This is such a cool moment.
No.
Did you try to instigate a little bit? Like, just a little bit. Just drop some petrol into fire.
Sure. Yeah.
Stand for the
That's
rights.
I'm trying to go to work at 9 o'clock at night. And this is all about to kick off. That quiet before the storm where everyone's just getting his Starbucks in before it kicks off. Yeah, I had to walk 2Ks to get a taxi. That's how big this cordon was.
Wow, that's impressive.
But I just had no idea. I mean, they clearly, all the aspects around International Women's Day aside, that's fine. But I didn't realize how different countries did bring their cause into the limelight, into the spotlight. I didn't realize how different every country was. This is just on another level.
Yeah. I was like, when I was in Madrid, also basically there was a protest in the city center. And it was actually, what was it? It was, because, in Spain, the provincial police and the national police, they're kind of separated.
Yeah.
And the provincial police in Catalonia, they get paid slightly more than the national police. Right. And then the national police was protesting against the pay difference. But it was really cool. It was a beautiful day, lots of crowds, lots of banners, lots of chanting. It was really nice. We actually walked along with the demonstrators for I think 500 meters before branching off to a different part of town. It was awesome.
The Starbucks.
Yeah. I didn't try to do any instigating.
Start the fire.
Yeah,
because
did you go run
surrounded by
come from the
police
other
anyway.
side?
It's not a good idea.
Yeah. So how was Madrid, other than the lack of taxis and the Starbucks?
It was an intense work week. It's done.
It's done. You back in the UK?
Back in the UK. I'm going out again. I don't know. Week after next.
Okay.
Anyway, the project's now back on track.
Awesome.
I went in there. The A team has arrived. Sort this nonsense
What
out.
were you the B team?
No.
Sorry.
Oh, you guys are rolling today. You guys are on the roll. But I love Madrid. Madrid is such an awesome city.
It is an awesome city. Yeah, I just wish I could see more of it rather than being stuck in some industrial zone, which is normally the case.
Yeah.
But you stayed in the city center, right?
The hotel was, yes.
Okay. So
which is unusual because normally I stay outside. But but we were working through the night, so you sleep all day and then you work all night. It was full on. There was no real time. I think we had the one night we went. My hotel had a rooftop bar, and we go up there, and it's great views. And then after you sort of up there for a while, you realise that just about every hotel around you has also got a rooftop bar, and we're all looking at each other from the rooftops.
And
so not such a special thing. Nice views, but yeah.
That's about it.
Did you guys ever? Did I ever tell you about the Post-it wars?
No.
That happened in Paris.
No.
Oh,
well,
was awesome.
Tell us. Do tell us.
So basically, they got in the main sort of work district. I say there's more than one district. Basically, if you can imagine, office block skyscraper with glass windows. Next to it, another one, different shape and size, but effectively a high rise of office with glass windows. And another one and another one. And so your business district is all these tall glass office buildings, right?
Yeah.
So they decided they're very close. It's only a road between them. they start taunting each other with post-its. You know, this starts off with somebody putting post-its on the glass window, which spells out something, and then the other side would communicate back. All right, so this is on the same level, on the same building. And this evolved to more elaborate artworks. We had Homer Simpson beating Godzilla and all sorts of extravagant. I mean, the stationery cupboard was bare. There was no post-its left. But what you noticed after several months of this going on, despite all the artworks that are coming out really well done, is that it spread to all the other buildings and different floors. So you stare out a window, your counterpart on the other side, and you realize, hang on, they downstairs are having a war over there, and so it's hundreds of people involved.
That is awesome.
And then just overnight, it just stopped. Maybe they ran out of post-its, but this went on for ages.
That's crazy.
That is
it's
so
pretty
awesome.
cool, though.
That is so cool. Yeah. I know that business district. When I was in Paris, I went through it. It's crazy. It's like just skyscrapers, just like opposite each other. So I know exactly what you mean.
I mean, it could happen anywhere in the world, but typically in the cities, your roads are wider. So you can't necessarily see them. It might work in London, actually, if anyone actually ever went back to an office.
Is that going to happen?
Oh, I think we're on that period of, if you were going to go back, you would have gone back.
Yeah. Sure.
But I mean, I look at me, I've been to my office once a year for the last 3 years.
Wow.
I might do a lot of traveling, but my actual office.
Do you miss it?
No. Well, partly because we have train strikes on the go, so I normally go in by train. So I can't actually get in. Because the day I choose, they typically are on strike. That aside, when you get there, there's no one there. So what's the point?
There's nothing to do. Andrew,
there's no collaboration to be done.
In your experience?
What, with working from home?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Do you want to go back?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I go twice a week anyway, so
you go into an office twice a week?
Yeah. Yeah, I go to Oxford and then I go to Crown Mines.
Where is your desk?
My desk.
Where you're officially designated a home worker?
At home? In my garage.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a little alcove. This is where we're doing the podcast from. A little alcove, which I've converted into like a little bit of a study. So basically, I've got my desk here with my computer and all my setup, and then I just plug in my laptop here. I've got a docking station. Plug in my laptop here. But
so
sometimes
when you go into those, two offices, do you have is it hot desk or is it they've got a desk designated for you?
So hot desk at Oxford. So basically, you got to book a desk, the day before on the day.
Mm-hmm.
You get in there. I generally take the same desk. Creature of habit,
yeah.
I'm going to have to change my desk because every time the electricity goes off, whatever backup system they got there, the swap over doesn't work very well. So then what happens, the network goes down for a bit and only certain desks are affected. So the desk,
yours is?
Yeah, the desk that I use is. So I'm going to, but it's one of those stand-up desks, motorized stand-up desks. And then when I go to Crown Mines, I've got a double office.
He's got a actually very nice office in like an...
So your office designated for you?
Yeah, he's got a huge office, literally huge.
Okay. So you go to your office once a week. Okay.
Yeah, I go to my office once a week and then I go to the...
Why is it a double office?
Well, it's just, it's that big.
Oh, okay.
Well, when I say double, it means it's got 2 desks in it. Like back to back, facing one another. Like, those L-shaped desks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are two people, and it's a corner office as well.
And it's got an awesome view.
And it's got a view, yeah. And bulletproof glass. Just in case. You joke. You can ask Oleg.
I'm
often-
not surprised.
Often there are,
I mean-
we've even got this like pedestrian bridge that goes across the main roads to the other campus. And a couple of years back, one of my colleagues was walking across there, and as she was walking across, there was a heist, hijacking at the traffic intersection, which is probably what?
100 meters away.
Yeah, 100 meters away. And there was a gunfight
Major gunfight.
as she was
Major
crossing
gunfights
the
with,
crossing the
like-
bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the guys with AKs and
we
like
then
stuff.
basically
Nice.
straight afterwards went to the place where it all went down and basically start counting the shell casings with Andrew
Yeah, and the cops arrived All that
after we
kind of
left.
stuff. After we left,
And you
yeah.
two got taken down.
Yeah, it took us 20 minutes to get there, and the cops still hadn't arrived.
Which
Wow.
most likely is smart from their on
Yeah,
their
yeah,
part.
yeah. They don't want to get caught up in the middle of that. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk Formula One. Seeing that Formula One is this weekend, they in
Yeah,
Saudi
let's
Arabia.
talk about this, Oleg. How are your teams looking?
I actually haven't picked.
Exactly.
No,
haven't picked.
really.
I haven't picked. Yeah,
That's all right.
I haven't picked.
I needed a head start anyway.
Well, you can still pick, can't you?
Yeah, he can. Before I think 4:00 today.
Yeah,
Before
these
well,
timelines.
before qualifying tonight.
Okay,
So
I
you
can
got
still-
until 7.
So I can still
tonight.
register.
Yeah, you can still register. I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
you
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Yeah,
Are you guys using your old accounts?
yeah. Just basically recreated my teams, created a group for the Weekend Craic. Yeah, baby.
It's still a rubbish website.
Yeah, I know. Jeez, it's so difficult to use. Oh my word.
I know. I swear.
I
It's
mean,
getting
why
worse.
don't they create a mobile app and then you
Guys,
can
so-
do it
There
through
is
the
an
mobile
app.
app?
It doesn't work.
Guys, so your prediction for the Saudi run?
Well,
Whoa! Hang on. He's pulling us in here because he wants to go and pick his team.
yeah, choose Ferrari.
I'm fishing.
Ferrari's doing so well. They've got a new
Ferrari
team
like last
principal.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing fantastically.
I'm fishing for information.
Speaking of which, Charles Leclerc's got a penalty this weekend.
Yeah. Already.
Yeah,
Already.
he's already used up all his allocation for electronics after the first race.
That does not bode well.
No.
But anyway, let's talk about after one race. Dun, 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 dun. In first place, we have my team.
Second
with
place.
two- Second
Your
place
team.
is my other team.
Shut.
And 50 points behind me is 50 points behind second place is Bearded Fen Team 2, then Bearded Fen Team 1, and then my autofill team.
Is that
and
coming
then
last?
Bearded Fen 3.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So do you think what's your take? Do you think the history is going to repeat itself?
What do you mean with
Well, it
the,
can't unless you enter a
that-
team.
Yeah, exactly.
No. But I will try to register this event. But do you think the history will repeat itself?
Probably,
Yeah, largely.
largely.
Okay.
The challenge with this is you haven't got a lot of money to spend. So if you want to go for the obvious constructor or driver, you have very little money left.
Mm.
So then it becomes a gamble for the other teams. And you might get that right. That's what it is for me. It's trying to gamble on those second choice, I'll call them, second choice drivers or constructors.
But
That's
I mean,
where the
did
winning
you
points
think
are going to come from.
when you were picking your teams, did you anticipate or predict that Aston Martin and Alonso were going to do so well based on their performance last year? Bearing in mind they
no
finished
one
seventh.
was expecting this, right?
Yeah,
But
dude.
but that has influenced my final selection. Yes.
Yes. So Vettel must
Well,
be
I was
kicking
gambling on
himself. Vettel must be kicking himself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, Alonso's not. Alonso's like everyone's saying, well, why is Alonso going to the number 7 team? The team that finished 7th. Why is he going there? Well, now we know.
All this aside, Williams have got a point
Yeah. Which is what?
after one race. I mean,
know.
how many points did they have the whole of last season?
Yeah, not many. Huh? Not many.
I mean, I'm not saying that they've turned a corner, but it's just good. They're the last of the sort of non-production teams to be, and we don't want to see them disappear like all the others have.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of that, I'm going to bring up probably another time, but I was reading an article yesterday, I think, about how advertising came to prominence on Formula One cars.
Oh.
And it all started in South Africa.
With Cecil.
What?
In South Africa. When they were still doing Formula Ones there, or what?
Yeah, well, actually, it's that far back that they had part of the season was a New Year's Day race, for one. And the other part was they had one in Rhodesia.
Really?
Rhodesia had a track in Salisbury, was it? I can't remember. It's before my time.
Yeah.
But yes, there was a Team Gunston.
Oh, wow.
Which had a orange and brown livery, but they actually, the way they've done it, the design it was quite bold. Now, Gunston as in the cigarettes.
Yeah.
But it was actually big font.
Mm-hmm.
Not big font in today's money, but compared to the Lotus, which was in the same era, they had a little font just under where the driver climbed in. It would say Lotus, about the size of the driver's name.
Right.
Tiny thing.
So what you're saying is that the
colours.
cars had no sponsorship on them at all, and then Lotus had their constructor name or whatever on there.
Lotus had it, but not as a but whereas Team Gunston was obviously sponsored by the tobacco company, and that's how they got their name on the car. And it wasn't biggish, not big to today's standards, but it was a big font. You could spot this car.
Sure.
They only did like 7 or 8 races, but I'll try and research. I'll dig it out for you guys.
And I mean,
it all started in South Africa.
Remember, Cecil used to sponsor as well at some stage, and then I think Creepy Crawley had a stint.
No way.
Had a
What,
stint.
On Formula One or just another motorsport?
No,
Okay.
Formula One.
Creepy Crawley was sponsoring Formula One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm under correction there, but definitely Cecil. But
I remember Creepy Crawley on the side of a
something
car,
in the
but I
back
don't
of my
remember
mind.
what it was.
Yeah, it does Creepy Crawley. Yeah. Crazy. So I was chatting to a mate of mine who did all the LED screens for the Formula E down in Cape Town.
Oh, yeah?
And he said, there's big money. Apparently the best organized event
Sure.
on the
I
calendar.
bet they say that after every one of them.
No, well, they said what happened was they had only made the decision in December that they were going to have the race in Cape Town. And then the local organizers, promoters, whatever you want to call them, obviously they had a to-do list of things to do and all that kind of stuff. And then the controlling body or whatever, they come in at a certain stage, come and inspect how the preparations are going and all that kind of stuff. And they said it's the first time that they've arrived in South Africa or arrived at the venue, and 80% of what needed to be done was done. So theoretically, that bodes well for having Formula One. The only problem is,
sure.
in the future as well. They reckon it'll be permanently on the race calendar. But from a Formula One point of view, he says it's too much money to have it here, just because of what needs, the promoter and the amount of money they need to come up with.
Would they have a street circuit?
No, they were talking about doing it at Kalami, and this is where as South Africans would say, the drol in die drinkwater was, or where the floater in the toilet was. I read an article and there was no name mentioned, and I'll probably get into trouble for mentioning this, but
Dropping names.
I'm going to drop names.
Drop some names.
Apparently, the owner of the track originally was promised. Well, the agreement was that for Formula One to be there, he would take R500,000 as whatever. He changed his mind and he said he wanted 2 million rand, and apparently that was one of the reasons why they cancelled, or why it's not happening here this year.
Sorry, what? So this is what, a bribery kind of thing?
No, well, yeah. So basically,
I mean, he might own the track, but it's surely a business that owns the track, a tax coded legal entity
Yes.
that runs the track.
Yes.
He might be the CEO or whatever he is.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't get a cut. His company should get it. Whether the company then pays him 2 million.
Half a mil.
Well,
like
I mean, he owns the company.
half a mil or 2 mil. Are we talking dollars or are we talking rand?
I'm not too sure.
Okay. Most likely
Because rand,
dollars.
I mean, that's what,
relative.
like £2.50.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. So that's yeah. I would imagine it's rand.
but that's so little, dude.
Well, I suppose.
Is this
Yeah.
guy
Look, I
that
mean,
cheap?
I don't know. Hey,
Is this guy that cheap?
what for 2 million rand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he owns the track, right? So I'm pretty sure this is like pocket change for him.
Yeah.
Well, no, because it costs a lot to build and maintain. I mean, they've had to renovate the track,
Yeah.
right, in
Yeah.
recent years, and the stands, and who knows? He might be just be breaking even. He may own the track, but he may not be making money.
Mm.
But the dude also, I presume the guy that we're talking about, he also owns like a luxury car brand in South Africa, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Sports
like
car brand.
luxury German sports car
Yes.
brands.
Yes.
I'm not pointing any fingers,
Fingers,
but,
yeah,
but like it's pretty obvious there is not that many.
Yeah. So look, I mean, I just read an article and they said, yeah. Anyway, so we'll hold thumbs that one day they will arrange a Formula One here.
Yeah.
And I think the ticket price was going to be 5,000 rand.
Yeah.
So if I went with my girl,
That's a lot.
if
that's
I
a
went with
lot.
my girls, it would cost 15 grand for us to go. Right? And that is cheap in comparison to other countries. So
Really?
I checked. If I
Is
wanted
that like a whole
weekend
weekend
pass.
ticket?
Yeah.
If it's a weekend
Yeah.
ticket, then yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I get it.
So for a weekend ticket at the Mexican racetrack, check Alex smile. At the Mexican, it's 10.
I see some angles here.
Would cost me 10 grand.
Including flights.
No,
But he's discounting the flights for you know why.
the flights are 20 grand. So I'd be in
Jeez,
for
dude,
30 to
You
go
don't have
watch.
to fly business class.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just relative. That's South Africa would have been
Much
inexpensive,
cheaper, yeah.
inexpensive in comparison to other countries. Anyway, so that's Formula One. Well, let's see what happens this weekend. I'm quite stoked to see what happens. Now
Yeah.
that Aston Martin's in the mix, because it puts
It's good to see a different thing.
puts Mercedes under pressure, puts Alpine under
Ferrari.
pressure, Ferrari,
Alpine, yeah.
Alpine, McLaren. Well, they seem to be struggling a bit.
I would still like to see,
Is it
3 or
Alpine?
4 teams having a go at the top of
Mm.
the table, and then I would, then the middle race
midfield,
order.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always a good thing to look at.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you
Okay.
don't want to just be Red Bull, Ferrari, and then Mercedes. You would want a fourth one in there just to cat amongst the pigeons, and then the rest of the guys can do the midfield. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Ferrari.
Yeah.
I think Ferrari must be scratching their heads.
after such a good year last year, because they were in the doldrums
Yeah.
the few seasons before that, knocking on the door, not showing the potential, not where they needed to be, always rebuilding, and then it started to come together, and now it's not.
Yeah.
What could have possibly deteriorated so fast?
Yeah.
One race. We've had one race.
Well, look, I mean, let's not forget. Red Bull, the first 2 races last year, didn't finish.
Yeah, true.
DNFs. So Leclerc's, he's okay for the moment. He can still pull it back. I'm sure he will.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he will. Yeah. Right.
What else is going on?
Yeah, not much, dude. The weather's still good here in South Africa. It's starting to get a bit chilly.
Well, we're changing our clocks in a couple of weeks, so therefore we must be approaching spring here, which means more rain.
Okay. I thought you had
Bit
changed your
warmer
clocks.
temperatures.
I thought you had changed your clocks already.
I think it's the last weekend of the month.
Okay, just before
Yeah.
Easter.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
before
Easter's
Easter.
just around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, more public holidays.
Don't we have a
Yeah, we're
public
heading to
holiday
that
next
public
week as
holiday
well?
month.
Yeah, on Tuesday. Tuesday's a public
Yeah,
holiday.
you've got a holiday on Tuesday. Well,
Awesome.
it's where everybody picks up the pieces from all the demonstrations.
On Monday. It's just the EFF day.
Yeah. I was looking at another article in the Roodepoort Record this week that my sister found.
An old one.
No,
Oh, yeah.
it's a current one.
Okay.
And the article was on the state of the train stations
Ooh,
that go from Roodepoort, Horizon, all of that towards
Virginia.
Krugersdorp.
Yeah.
All of those, because that used to be a major, pre-COVID was a major commuting service into Johannesburg.
Mm.
COVID comes along, everything shuts down, and they were just showing that the article was on the state of these stations now, and they are derelict. There was no maintenance done, no security, and the stations are now no longer really in use,
Yeah.
which is a shame. So it's going to cost a lot of money to get them all back to an ordinary state. But it was just quite scary how fast. I mean, I know it was about 3 years since the trains were running, was it?
Sure.
But these places, there's so much foliage overgrowth. It looks like they've been like this for 50 years.
Oh, my
Yeah.
word.
It is quite eerie.
So I wonder what happened. I'm assuming during load shedding that the trains don't run, right? I don't know.
Unless they've got onboard batteries.
Will they go back to
Dunno.
using diesel locos?
Unless the railways have their own power source that doesn't get affected.
I don't know. Not too sure.
Because I was thinking about this when I was in Cape Town all those weeks ago. Because the house we were in Fischhoek was overlooking, you could see the station and you could see the train going the route around the coast.
Yeah.
But they were running
Mm.
despite the load shedding.
Okay. Oh, well, that's, yeah. So maybe that gives some info on that thing. And you notice that they got new trains now, right? Not the old metro. They got the blue and silver ones now.
Yes,
Or
they
blue and white.
look good. But the old one, there's one sitting at Fischhoek Station, not moving. It's
Okay.
taking up a whole platform, and it was there the whole week, didn't move.
Oh, right. Is it like got graffiti on it or?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new
standard.
ones, no graffiti.
No graffiti yet
Yeah.
that I noticed.
Apparently they're supposed to be
Give it time.
graffiti resistant. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, what does
Time
that
will
mean?
tell.
You start spraying it, it electrocutes you?
No, it just doesn't bind properly.
They've tried this stuff before, but
Yeah.
where there's a will, there's a way. If you
I'm
want
sure.
to tag a train, you're going to tag a train.
Yeah.
Even if it means melting off this protective plastic layer.
Yeah,
that they put
exactly.
on.
You know, acid wash first, you know. Yeah. Yeah. So are you longing for Cape Town or not? You're
I
not
had a good time.
semi-gracing. You're not going to be semi-gracing soon.
No. Did I tell you about the results of the 4-day working week?
No.
Oh, so the
Oh.
UK did this. Oh, sorry, I meant to send. This is right up your alley.
Hmm.
I meant to send you the article. But basically, thank you to COVID and lockdowns and remote working
And Tim Ferriss, or not Tim Ferriss? Is it Tim Ferriss?
and
Mm-hmm.
so they got in the UK, they got, I think it was about 100 companies to sign up to do a trial of a 4-day working week.
Mm-hmm.
And these companies were from different sectors, private, public, different industries, different sizes, different, one's manufacturing, the other one might be supply chain, another one, they're all very different, different
Right.
parts of the country as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a good spectrum across all of them. So they did it for a year, and the results are in. Drum
Dun.
Yeah, that's
roll.
exciting.
Drum roll. Yeah, I wish I've got a drum roll here somewhere, I think. Have I got a drum roll?
Well, I think the moment's passed now.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
we
need
lost it. We
and
lost
I
it.
need my glasses. I can't read the screen. Yeah. Oh yeah. Whatever. Next time.
Okay.
Next time.
So, and I thought it was just like they would all work Monday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday. But no, each of them had the ability to choose how they did the 4-day week, depending on their industry.
Mm.
So some of them had flexibility in that their office might have been open 5 days, but the people that worked there only worked 4. So some could do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, etc.
Yeah,
the next
yeah.
one does different
Mm.
days. And some of them just went, we only open Monday to Thursday. So that was quite interesting how they adapted that rule, because and the main feedback was this is plausible, but it only works if the whole country moves to a 4-day week, because these companies or organizations are dealing with people who are working 5-6 days a week. So you can't just have your office open 4 days a week. It's going to impact your business or impact the service that you provide, etc. So that was the main feedback. And so yeah, these companies had to adapt. I think it was something like, and I stand to be corrected because I looked at this a few weeks ago, the majority have gone back to a 5-day working week because although they see the potential, it can't work with what they do because of they need everybody else to do it.
Mm.
There is some that have not fully gone back to the way they were, and are looking at more flexible options for the staff, whatever that means. And there's about 1 or 2% that have said, you know what, this worked for us, and they're sticking with it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And is there any particular sector that's like, okay, this works better in
No.
the sector? Okay, cool.
I think it was the ones that have retained it, it's small companies.
All right. Yeah. More flexibility and all that kind of stuff.
But I would have thought it would be the bigger companies that could do it because you have a resource pool potentially.
Yeah.
But if you're a
And
small
you can
company,
spread it across, right? Because I mean, you could still run 7 days a week, whatever, but you could just have your staff spread it out over those days, so you can still provide the service.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, if you had the option and you were to choose the days to work and then the day that you would take off, how would you structure it for yourself? Like, what would work best for you?
I think Monday to Wednesday and then Friday, but then that wouldn't work for my organization. That would work for me. My organization, there is a culture in some European countries where if you've worked long hours all week, you typically go home early on a Friday. And I think that's also quite common in South Africa for some companies.
Or like
so
if you
it
did
wouldn't work from that
standby,
perspective.
or if you did standby, you don't get paid for doing standby, then you could have Friday afternoon off or something.
Something like that. And it's
Yeah,
going to be
sure.
different depending on who
Yeah.
you are, what role.
Yeah.
Trying to get hold of people on the continent on a Friday afternoon is difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they phone me at 7:30 in the morning on a Tuesday when I only start work at 9. That kind of thing, I don't get respite. So I don't make an obvious deliberate attempt to phone them at 7 at night after they've gone home.
But it has happened in the past.
But it might have happened, yes.
Yes.
I'm glad in a way that I'm not dealing with the Japanese and Americans directly, because that used to be tough. You do
Then on different
trying to
time
find a
zone.
common time zone for these meetings is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I haven't done that for a while, because that was 2 o'clock in the morning, or yeah, wasn't fun. So what would you do though if you had a choice of 4-day week?
Yeah, you know, like in my mind, you know, like the obvious one would be have Friday off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I suppose another option could do is like you work Monday, Tuesday, take Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, off Saturday, Sunday, work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. Yeah.
Tuesday is the new Friday.
Yeah. Could be.
So I would also do basically just a straight 4-day stint, and then have like a really long weekend.
Yeah.
So
My
one thing I
rationale-
didn't mention.
My rationale is that it gives me an opportunity to, for example, say Thursday evening or Thursday afternoon, to just go away somewhere. And it's like solid 3 days. So you can actually take a drive to Drakensberg
Yeah, that's true.
Thursday, and then
That's
basically chill there for like 3 days, rest, come back Sunday evening,
Yeah. But I suppose,
or go to the coast.
yeah.
The same thing.
But also, I suppose flexibility is the name of the game these days, because, I mean, we go into the office, even though I might go into the office, try every Tuesday and Wednesday, as an example. I mean, it is flexible. I mean, I can say, well, I'm not, you know, instead of going to Oxford on Tuesday, I'm going to West Campus on Tuesday, or sometimes not even go in at all. Obviously still working from home, but so I suppose if you said, oh, okay, most of the time I'm going to do Wednesday, take the day off, and then every now and again you take a long weekend, Friday, you know, finish up on a Thursday and then take a long weekend. Yeah.
One thing I didn't mention was the majority said actually people worked efficiently. So as much as you're losing manpower hours in a working week, the businesses found that people were more attentive, more active. They were productive. So they were rested. They're applying themselves. And that's more the interesting part for me.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, then, because you could do a 3-day week and still cover 5 days if it's just work that you are doing yourself.
So is
But
it
the fact that people were rested and happy in what they did, and they had the flexibility, they were more motivated.
Yeah. So are you saying that their productivity level stayed the same, or did the productivity actually
Increased.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's
pretty
interesting.
cool. That's
So-
pretty cool.
I mean, the interesting thing was, one of the things that came out of our sort of COVID experience was that they admitted that productivity had gone up with people working from home. And I think
people
it's,
also work longer hours.
yeah, and I think I was just about to say, I think that's because what happens is, because people are not losing 2 hours in traffic a day,
Commuting. Yeah.
they were using those 2 hours to do work. Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, I can remember back in the days when I was running the laboratory, if it was let's say it was a public holiday on a Monday, and the guy said, oh, they would like to leave early on a Friday because they want to go home, then I'd say, okay, that's cool, as long as all the work is done. And what would normally take them a full day to do, they could do in half a day.
Strange that.
Yeah. Motivation, dude.
Motivation.
Crack the whip. But I suppose, I mean, it's human nature. If I've got 4 hours to finish something, I take 4 hours to do it. If I'm only given 2 hours to do something, I can pretty much make a plan to get it done in 2 hours. I might be sat after that. I might be tired. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's human nature. It's about focus and planning.
Yeah.
And carrot. Yeah.
Carrot.
well.
Follow the carrot.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's interesting. interesting story that.
So do
Yeah.
you think, Lester, do you think more UK companies will actually adopt a 4-day working week as
No.
a result of
Well,
this?
no, I think what COVID and where we are now is we've now adopted a more flexible working environment. But we're still on a 5-day working week.
Okay.
People can start earlier, finish earlier, work 20 hours one day and 2 hours the next day if they need. The hours still have to be done. But going to an office is flexibility there. You go in if you need to or want to, or I suppose it depends on the industry.
Yeah, like I mean, I must admit, when pre-COVID, I was very keen on the idea of a 4-day working week. Like read the book, that kind of thing, and say, oh man, that would be really great. But I mean, that was in the context of the fact that they weren't like very pro us working from home. It was like a privilege to work from home, and it was like
There was exception to the rule.
yeah, it was exception to the rule, and
Yeah,
you had
yeah.
to get permission and
I
all
think
that
the
kind of
thing
stuff.
here is trust, because if you work from home on a Friday, people just like, you're skiving. You're not working.
Sure. But what
Are you really? Yeah.
Yeah, what I found now, the way that the flexibility that we've got now, yeah, I'm not too worried about a 4-day working week anymore.
Well, we've now
'Cause-
proven that companies can trust us.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, because the reason why I wanted the 4-day working week was for flexibility. And now I've got that flexibility anyway because of the way that we're working. So that was my motivator for that, is because I just wanted that extra day to do my own personal stuff. But now I can, and it actually works better in retrospect because, like if I need to go pick up my daughter, because all of a sudden, like you can imagine when I'm in the office to pick my daughter up from school at 2:00, it was a schlep, right?
Yeah.
I had to organize someone to pick her up, or I had to go into the office early and leave early, that kind of thing. Like now,
it's not a problem.
now, or, when she was in school, I mean, I could just do it during my lunchtime. So in other words, I take a later lunch. So instead of having lunch at 12:00, as an example, I'd have lunch at 2:00. And during my inverted commas lunch, I would go pick her up from school, get back, still have time to have lunch, and then get back to work, So for me, it's the flexibility. That's what I enjoy, because I like to have these like sort of blocks of work. So in other words, like you work like solidly for 2 hours and then take a break and then work for 2 hours, whatever, hour and a half concentration. Yeah. So interesting, eh? Interesting. Yeah. So,
Other
days of the
news. We can do that. Or
Yeah.
we can talk about the International Criminal Court yesterday have issued an arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin
Right. And they are what, going to go pick him
for
up
war
from his
crimes
house?
in the Ukraine, and I thought, oh yes, here we go. I mean, that's all very interesting, but is he ever going to be arrested? No. Russia doesn't recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC as much as the rest of the world does. But I thought it was, war crimes. You think, well, it's not. You think about what happened in Yugoslavia back in the day, where there's mass murdering going on. But no, specifically, they mentioned human trafficking.
All right.
And this was taking children from Yugoslavia into Russia and pairing them up with families.
You mean
who need
Ukraine?
Children.
You mean Ukraine?
Sorry, what did I say?
Yugoslavia.
Oh, I said no, definitely not. No, from Ukraine to Russia, pairing the children up with families in Russia. And I'm like, that hadn't even crossed my mind that that kind of stuff would be going on. But it's all very interesting. It's just another thing going on to stoke the fire. It's still not getting any better there. And we're getting to the point where things have slowed down during winter in this frontier war. and it's all about to kick off again.
Sure.
Yeah.
And America this week have got a bit more involved in that there was a American drone that was shot down by a Russian.
Yeah, did you see that? Did you see the
Plane.
video footage of that?
Yeah,
Flip. It's like dumped fuel on it first. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't throw a match out the flipping cockpit there.
yeah. I mean, making a point, but it's international airspace. I mean, why does America on the other side of the world have a drone flying over there? Maybe it's part of NATO exercises. Yeah, it's been quiet for a while, but that is all going to kick off again. The fire's going to get
But-
bigger in the
but-
coming months.
By the way, this is not the first time that the Russian army shot down those Reaper drones. There's been, like, over the last couple of years, at least 5 incidents where those Reaper drones were shot down in Syria.
Mm. But I
Yeah,
mean,
but that
here's
was
the
the- there was-
question.
yeah.
Here's the question.
Go on.
Like, you're talking about shooting it down. This time they didn't shoot it down. First
They
of
just
all,
blew it up.
yeah, they dumped fuel on it, right?
And
And
then
then they I don't know if it was intentional or not. The Russian jet clipped the drone and bent its propellers, which obviously meant that it couldn't fly properly. And I think that's how it got destroyed.
But
No.
just think about
It
Or
didn't-
did they shoot it?
No, it didn't get destroyed, right? So it went down after whatever the pilot did,
Mm.
and then they recovered it.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
recovered it and sent
Yeah.
it to Chinese to mass produce.
Yeah. At a third of the price. Talking about Chinese and that kind of stuff.
Well, the
so-
Chinese are visiting Russia this week
Are they?
Yeah.
on a state visit. Yeah.
All right. Right. So talking
Speaking
about
of Chinese,
yeah, in South Africa, there's I'm sure you know of this this company called Shein, Shein. You can buy clothes and accessories,
Yeah.
you know, sunglasses, and so on and so on. So I mean, literally, you can buy stuff for like next to nothing. I mean, a pair of sunglasses is going to cost you like between $50 and $75. This cap, I mean, $40. I mean, for a good cap here in South Africa, I'm paying upwards of 350, 400 rand, and I pick them up from China for 40 or 50 rand.
Mhm.
So now the textile industry association or whatever, now they're complaining to the DTI and to SARS because these guys are undercutting the industry here in South Africa. So now they're calling for them to investigate and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, so that's also coming. But I mean, the interesting thing is,
hold on.
I read an article about, you know, sunglasses frame or spectacle frames and sunglasses frames. So there's one company that owns 80% of the different sunglass manufacturers or brands around the world, and like Ray-Ban's one of them.
It's essentially a cartel.
Yeah, it's like a cartel, right? So I mean,
cartel.
I've never understood why they haven't had this sort of anti-monopoly kind of conversation about it. But
They're paying the right people.
yeah, probably.
Or giving them Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Yeah, so I mean,
Nothing to see here.
They all manufactured in China, right? So they're manufactured in China. They're brought into the country, whatever country it is. So just take a pair of Ray-Bans as an example. I went window shopping with my kids last weekend at Sandton City, and we were looking at sunglasses or whatever. I mean, those Ray-Bans are between 2,500 rand and 3,500 rand, right, as an example. And there's an article I was reading, it was quite a while ago, so I wouldn't be able to get the exact details. But I mean, they were saying that it was costing them like $10 to make those glasses. That's the actual manufacturing cost, is $10. So I mean, you can make 100% profit is $20. 300%, I mean,
no monopoly.
crazy.
I mean, there
Nothing to
is
see here.
But
future's so
then-
bright.
Yeah.
You've got to wear shades.
So
That is
I'm
ridiculous.
just-
Agreed. And there's
And
no
I mean,
contest.
it's for me, what it does, look, I mean, I understand you've got an industry in South Africa, they're trying to make a living and all that kind of stuff. And I know there's the whole human sweatshop aspect to the China manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, it does shed some light on the fact that these companies are making a shitload of money. In other words, like it's not like input costs plus 100% profit. They're making upwards of 300, 500, 1,000% profit on some of these things. I mean,
And
it's like capitalism deluxe. And
in China.
it just,
Wow.
but I mean, this is the thing. I mean, you take, and I'm going to use a brand, yeah, Doc Martens. Okay, they used to make their shoes in the UK.
Yes.
Some years ago, they moved their manufacturing to China.
Thailand.
Sure.
No, it's China.
Is it China?
It's China. Check your docs, dude. On the inside,
Okay.
it says made
All
in
right.
China. So, but the interesting thing is, the price of the shoes did not drop, but the manufacturing cost of those shoes dropped by down to, I don't know, it was something ridiculous, like 20 or 30% of what it cost them to make it in the UK. They were making it for, at 30%
So
of the
include shipping
price.
cost and import duties and other things. Mind you, they always had import duty, export duties. Okay. Yeah.
But the price of the shoes in the UK and around the rest of the world didn't go down. So they were making all that profit.
But there would have been a trigger, right? So if they did well for the resurgence of docs, and they got to the point where they still managed to create demand for that industry, for that culture that likes the docs, and we love a good pair of docs. It gets to the point where it's expensive to produce in England. That's nothing unusual. So naturally, it's going to be manufactured overseas. You're saying they probably make more money, sure, but they might need to recoup to pay off loans that they incurred a lot more costs or losses when they were still producing despite the demand in the UK. So they might have needed some of that money to repay those debts. At the same time, it's cheaper to manufacture overseas, but there's also the shipping cost, the logistics behind it all, because it would be brought back to the UK for a final quality check and then exported, I think.
Yeah,
Stand to be corrected.
Yeah, but also,
But I think
just
there's more.
remember,
It's not an apples with an apples comparison necessarily.
No, yeah, but and we're not even taking into account the fact that by moving the manufacturing to China, they don't have to maintain. They remove their overheads, so they don't have to maintain a factory. They don't have to pay factory workers. They don't have to, like, you're not even factoring the maintenance costs into that. I'm just talking about the cost of making, well, I suppose that does bring in, the cost of manufacturing does take into account some of those overhead costs. But they were still making profits by manufacturing it in the UK. Or let's say they were breaking, well, okay, I'm assuming. Okay. But, I know another story, and I'll tell you that offline, about someone that was doing the same thing. Moved their manufacturing to China.
What we are finding in the UK is that this was all very much cheaper back in the day, like a few years ago, when we found that it was cheaper to do manufacturing elsewhere and then bring it into the UK rather than manufacture in the UK.
Yeah.
But over time, the cost of production in China has gone up. So it's not as favorable, and we're starting to see some of those now coming back to be manufactured in the UK again.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see
no, but that's
this
because
sort of cycle.
Yeah, but that's also there's been a push. I mean, the same thing's happening in America. There's a push from the people to say that why are you manufacturing this stuff in China should be creating jobs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In those countries.
But we're not people still harp on here about how the UK used to be in the industrial age, used to be the leaders in and manufacture and engineering and all of these things. We used to make stuff that we export to the world. We don't do that anymore on the scale that we did. But actually, the UK is now basing a lot of its GDP on service-related stuff. We have the knowledge that we can now sell as a service. We're not manufacturing tangible stuff anymore. We're now manufacturing an intangible thing, and that's more profitable. There's bigger margins. We're happy for the manufacturing to happen elsewhere, but as we don't produce anything tangible, people are starting to go, well, what do we do anymore? We've lost all of that. But actually, it's not necessarily a bad thing, and we haven't got rid of it completely. We still manufacture. An example would be the street sweeping cars that go around and sweeping the streets. They are manufactured in the UK for the whole world.
Right.
We are the leaders in that industry. It's not a well-known industry, but we still manufacture vehicles. We still manufacture earth-moving stuff. We still manufacture a lot of things, but they're not mainstream like cars. You're not seeing it on the volumes that we used to see. So that's why. So it's a big topic, not for the hour we have on a podcast.
So just
but talking of China, I have one more thing.
Okay, go for it.
And yesterday, the British government has announced that TikTok is now banned from all government employees' mobile phones.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
Because of the Chinese connection, and we don't trust anything. The same way we haven't rolled out 5G in our cities because we don't trust the market leader, Hawaii, with their technology.
Right. And talking about TikTok, there's a theory that now Instagram this week has said that they are not going to promote content that is created outside of the environment. So in other words, like you've got these editors. So what people do is, like TikTok's got a really good editing tool, which is called CapCut. And you can also edit within the TikTok app. So what people do is they create short form content in TikTok. And then what they do is they export it to Facebook Reels and Instagram, right? So now what Instagram's done is they've turned around and they said, no. They're not pushing content that's created outside the environment. So they will promote content that's created within the environment. So in other words, you upload a video, you edit it in the Instagram app. And you use music from within their music library. And they will promote that, and all the other stuff is going to be suppressed or not promoted as much. But the problem is that their tools are shit, right? So in other words, their editing tools are substandard. Now everyone's up in arms, but then there's also another point. Meta, owner of Facebook and Instagram, pushing the government to ban TikTok. So I understand the security and the information and the spying. No, well, put it this way: there could be.
Is there any tangible evidence?
No, there's not. But there could be. It could be a possibility, as an example. Although we could go there,
But that's the same thing applies to Google. The same thing applies to Microsoft.
Fair enough. But the thing is that they're saying that the Chinese government has got, and I mean the Americans do it. We know they do it.
Okay, but why are we so scared about the Chinese government? How many countries did China invade in the last 20 years? Like, just for argument's sake, how many countries did China invade in the last 20 years?
I don't know.
Well,
maybe they
hostile takeover, but more economic takeover.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's cool. That's business. That's just part of business, right?
It's just part of business.
It's just part of business. But I mean, how many countries did China invade in the last 20 years? Zero, yeah. How many countries did the United States invade in the last 20 years?
Some in plenty. Yeah. No, look, I mean...
like, it's a simple logic, but why are we scared about China?
Yeah. But anyway, they're saying that Facebook is trying to take out their competition by pushing the government to ban TikTok.
Wow. That's just business.
Facebook
trying to get your competition off.
Facebook is just dead in the water because
it's dying.
They're not innovating in that space.
It's all right. Elon Musk will probably buy it at some point.
Dude, they still need to get Twitter right.
Yeah, what's happening with Twitter? I haven't seen any changes on Twitter.
Nothing. No news.
No news. Okay.
On that happy note.
On that happy.
Oh,
note.
and on that note,
Please tell me it's
National-
Corn Dog Day.
it is, but I'm not gonna mention it.
Is it the hot dog day?
Hot Dog Day.
No, it's corn dog. Corn dog's different to a hot
different.
dog.
I know.
It's also Sloppy Joe Day.
Oh. So you can have a sloppy Joe and a corn dog.
You can have a Sloppy Joe Day and a corn dog on the side.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
corn dog is it's not in a bun like a hot dog. It's wrapped in this
Yeah, like batter or
maize
whatever.
covering and then
Yeah.
batter, thank you, and then fried. In the UK, we'd probably call it a battered sausage.
Yeah.
Okay. No, my favorite national day today is National Awkward Moments Day.
Right.
Awkward moments happen all the time, and some people have it more than others. So for anyone who has ever wished that the ground would open up and swallow them whole, this is your day. It's a day to celebrate all of those ridiculous moments that are filled with bungling and tons of embarrassment. Like walking out of a public toilet with toilet paper stuck to a shoe on the back of your clothing.
Yes.
So it's happened to a lot of people, some more than others. And let's take a moment and reminisce and be one of those people. Not that I'm going to go out with toilet paper stuck to my shoe necessarily.
Yeah.
But saying the wrong thing is something that is easy, foot and mouth disease. Yeah.
I'm just looking at Andrew's stickers. Loose lips sink ships.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't unring the bell.
Yeah.
I think I need to move them down because I haven't looked at those for a while.
Yeah.
I think I need to move them back
No,
on the
you
wall.
need to move them on the wall.
Yeah.
Right,
I
let's
need to
see
update
what else.
my vision board.
What's
At least just
happened
change
today?
the date.
Yeah.
I'll just scratch it out with a Sharpie.
1990, the last year of our school,
Yes, baby.
was coincidentally, the same year that the largest art robbery in US history happened. 13 pieces of art were stolen, valued at over $500 million.
Wow.
There was a
Wow.
documentary on Netflix
Was
about
it?
that, yeah.
Okay.
Was it?
Well, that was on today.
Can you remember what
1990.
the name of the place was? So I can just make sure it's the same documentary.
Isabella Stewart Gardner
Yep.
Museum in Boston.
That's the one. And they haven't solved it.
No, they haven't solved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They don't know who
I'm
took it
pretty
out.
sure those art pieces are sitting in private collections somewhere.
33 years those art pieces have been disappeared. Yeah.
No, they're sitting in private collections somewhere.
Yeah. Probably part of Pablo Escobar's secret stash, wherever it might be, along with the Kruger millions. Famous birthdays. F.W. de Klerk this is his birthday, if he was still alive.
Yep.
Queen Latifah, she's 53. But the other thing that jumped at me here was, on this day in 1834, 6 farm labourers from Tolpuddle, Dorset, England, were sentenced to be transported to Australia for forming a trade union. 6 people, farmers, go, oh, I've had enough of this working in the mud. We designate this a trade union. You're off. You're
Yeah.
banished to the other side of the world.
Yeah. We'll send you to Australia. You can go farm in Australia.
Yeah, go and farm that nonsense.
So was that the start of Australia as a penal colony?
No, I think it was already started, but the fact that
Okay.
6 farm labourers who are like, I'm sick tired of working in these conditions.
I need a 4-day working week.
Right, you're out of here. What?
What?
So you're sending me to a sunny destination with warm weather? Oh,
No more rain?
no more rain, no more mud. Oh, please do me a favour.
And a 4-day working week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, no day working week because you're going into jail.
Yeah.
But we'll let you do the gardens.
Yeah.
Grow tomatoes.
Well, you can lay the railway tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. On this
Oh,
day,
that's good, man.
1662, many years ago, 200 years before it became the norm, public buses first took to the streets of Paris.
Wow.
Now, let me put this in context. It's not, this was the start of people taking public transport. 200 years before it was actually a thing. If I put it in context, in the 1660s, what kind of transport did you have? There was no buses. There was all horse-drawn, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that most people didn't have a form of transport, this was quite a thing. But still, there was probably a lot of distrust. This is the time of French Revolution as well, where liberty was coming to the fore and for the people. But yeah, that's when it started. 200 years before it actually became a thing.
Wow.
And on that bombshell, I will leave you with nothing else to say.
I thought you had frozen there for a moment.
Yeah.
So the bloody CIA and the MI6s has caught up with
I
us
mentioned
again.
Putin in this broadcast.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And the Chinese.
Yeah, happy-
And the Chinese.
Happy
that's,
birthday,
yeah.
FW.
that's triple whammy and TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Things
Crazy.
been shot down. Oh, gosh. Not to mention a 4-day working week. Can't have those rumors spreading.
Jeez, dude, we've covered a lot. I think we could get into.
We've
lot
come a
of
long
trouble.
way since Formula One an hour ago.
You've covered so much that would justify a forced trip to Australia.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to Robben Island.
Oh, can I?
Can I? Yeah, please. Sunshine. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Anyway, yeah,
Nice
that
one.
was a good one. We made up for missing last week.
Roger that.
Roger
Yeah.
that.
Right,
Cool.
play the music, son.
I thought you were
Yeah,
gonna
get on
update
with it,
this
eh?
track.
Uh-huh.
I thought you were gonna update this track to something more modern.
All in good time, dude. All in good time.
Yeah, I think we said the 200th episode now.
Yeah, when Lester comes back again.
Awesome.
Oh,
Okay,
my
guys.
goodness.
Cheers.